Manchester United 2, Tottenham 0. You can see it right there. Dominant performance by Manchester United. One of the best performances in genuinely years by Man United. That's certainly for me the best performance under Ten Hag. Piecing together that attacking intensity, overlapping play, high pressing, looking for teammates, switching play over to the other side when the space isn't there, repeating it, doing it over and over again, and then defensively looking absolutely shut out, brilliant as well. That was a stunning performance by Man United, wasn't it?
There were so many good performances in that. Like you could literally go from De Gea to Delo all the way throughout the attackers to saying that is a very, very, very assured, very fluid, very structured. It had a little bit of everything. I think, obviously, we criticised Sancho a little bit. I think Sancho was probably the only one that was a little bit off the pace today. Yeah. Other than that, it was a really, really good performance. And what we've seen in a lot of games this season is, obviously, football, if you break it down in simple terms, is attack and defence. Mm-hmm. We've been usually seeing either one or the other performing this season. Yep. In recent times, we've been defensively very good, we've been stable, we've been solid, but we've just not been clinical enough at the other end, not creating enough chances, and when we are creating a chance, we've not been putting them away. This has been one of the rare games this season where both has been on song. I think defensively, I think Martinez and Varane were absolutely amazing. I think they were supreme, especially Martinez against Harry Kane. However you want to slice it, Martinez has put in a top-notch performance and completely shut out one of the best strikers in the world today.
Yeah.
Up front, I think Rashford was alive. He was sharp. He looked like he had a little bit more appetite and work rate about him. And he showed a little bit of quality, some pieces of magic. I think Fred was miles better than the weekend. Obviously, there's some erratic parts to his game, but I think all around, I think his energy, his endeavour, breaking up play, and he actually had a little bit of quality at times. Yep. I think today was probably might be the best game that I've seen Casemiro play as well.
Yeah.
For us, I think he was solid, and that was actually one of the things about Casemiro that surprised me is how good he's actually going forward.
Yeah.
Casemiro is a defensive midfielder, and he's as defensive as he can, but he actually offers a little bit of quality in attacking areas. He's good in the air. It looks like he can arrive late. He's got great vision at first time, and he's got a strike on him right and left foot, so he might surprise you and get a few goals as well. Bruno, he's come up against a lot of scrutiny recently for some of his performance. I thought he was outstanding today.
Let me give you a few stats on Bruno. Most shots of anyone on the pitch, obviously got the goal as well. He created 9 chances, which is 4 more than the next highest of anyone on the pitch. Stunning stuff. Most attacking third passes, most crosses, most chances created. He's just United's attacking dominance. Almost all of it came through Bruno Fernandes one way or another. I thought, like I said, he's coming for a bit of criticism. He's had a time where he's had to sort of defend himself. We saw a montage before the game on Amazon Prime of goals he scored in his first 45 games, and then how much fewer it is, or how much less there is in the most recent 45 games. Tonight was vintage Bruno Fernandes. Every blade of grass, every attack, every defence, he's just there for all of it. I thought he was absolutely fantastic today.
I thought it was brilliant. There was a real togetherness about the performance today.
Yeah,
everything seemed in unison. There was moving parts that were working. I think today's was a good advert for what Ten Hag wants to bring to the football club, and this is how. Obviously, a lot of people are going to talk about the fact that Ronaldo walked off at the end. He didn't come on. He wasn't very happy about that. But I keep telling people time and time again, know that there's a bit of Ronaldo love affair. People have got a lot of loyalty towards him. But when he's not up front and you've got a bit of mobility and a bit of someone that has more strings to the ball at this moment in time, where they're not just an inbox player that doesn't really offer much outside of that, we just look like a miles better team.
Yeah.
And I think we can even go to another level when Martial comes, because Martial, whether what you want to say about him, I think the other forwards play better with him.
Yeah.
And I think Bruno plays better with him as well. A lot of Rashford's best games in the United shirt have come, and his best runs of form have come when Martial's been up front and he's played off to the left, because they've got a good link up as well. So that's basically what I've got to take from it. I can't really think of many negatives. I thought sometimes we're a little bit wasteful.
Well, let me go through that a little bit then, because I've got a few stats here. So Man United had 28 shots in that game. That's only, I think, 6 fewer than they had against Ammonia.
I think we had 19 in the first half.
19 shots in the first half, 10 on target. Tottenham only had 2 shots on target the whole game, 9 shots in total. United had more than double the attacking third passes that Tottenham had, 184 to Tottenham's 82. Just the way they controlled the game and the way that they held the ball for... I mean, you look at the possession, it's only 52% United, but again, the attacking third, it shows where United held possession. United held possession for long periods of the game in Tottenham's third, creating constant pressure, constant chances. 28 shots against a team that was, 3 places above us in the league, or 2 places above us in the league. Could have gone, excuse me, could have gone second tonight, Tottenham, if they'd have won. And we're having 28 shots against them. That is almost unheard of by Manchester United, especially in recent seasons when, even against under Solskjaer, when we had a better chance of winning these games than we did under Rangnick, it was still often a counter-attacking style, or games won late on, or these sorts of victories. It was never controlling the game the way we have tonight and limiting their chances the way we did. And honestly, that to me is one of the best performances I've seen from Man United in a decade. Like, certainly since Sir Alex left, that is right up there for me. Controlling a team that has so far this season been better than us, that has supposedly got this great manager who's been there for, this is his second season in charge now. To be able to do that, and especially after the counter-attacking style against Arsenal and Liverpool, to control the game, to win possession back the way we did, to create chances and shots and big chances as well, time and time again, is genuinely so impressive, and so fills me with so much optimism for the future when you think this is what Ten Hag wants. And I don't mind watching that every week. That was just brilliant, wasn't it? It was just brilliant.
Because one thing that's actually, it was great to see. I like the energy. I thought the counter pressing was there. Tottenham were actually awful today, but that could be partly down to how good we were. Yeah. We kind of sandwiched them. I could hear that the crowd was getting into it. I thought the crowd looked like it had a little bit of a 12th man kind of surge to it as well. I was even going to mention, I think Hugo Lloris was probably the only Tottenham player that turned up. I think without him, it could have been even more.
Yeah.
You said probably one of the best performances we've had in a decade. Could be a little bit of hyperbole, but it is definitely the best performance that we've had this season. And it's, as you've said, United seems to be turning up against the big boys.
Yeah.
Could the Man City game be a little bit of an anomaly, a bit of a blip? I know it's 6-3. It was all doom and gloom, but outside of that, outside of the Brighton and the Brentford game that we started the season with, we've not been that easy to beat.
No.
We've had dodgy performances. We've had our issues going forward sometimes. We've had shakiness at the back. But for the most part, I'm seeing signs of a football team that is becoming harder to beat. Mm-hmm. I don't know if that's the addition of Casemiro, and then you've got Martinez. We look like we're a little bit more solid defensively. And I think when the forwards line kind of catches up, because I think the defence has been a little bit further ahead in the development of the Ten Hag. We could make a lot of noise in the rest of the season if we continue to play like that. But what we need to see is consistency. Yeah. We don't want to see this performance this midweek and then we turn up against Chelsea and then drop a clanger. Yeah. We need to start stringing performances together. We need to see players string performances together as well. And then we can start to believe again. Mm-hmm. I know we are quite optimistic as fans, but we are used to being disappointed in recent times, so we want to make sure that we see it over a sustained period, and then we can get a little bit excited.
Yeah, I've got a few super chats here, and then there's a couple of players I want to highlight because I think they need a particular sort of bit of praise. Mikkel Teisland says, "Can I get a whoop whoop?" I've kind of done it by reading the comment out. Andrew Nabel says, "Positive super chat time. I really love how well the team bounced back, particularly Fred. The team seems to be really into buying in under Ten Hag." Neil Edwards says, "Dominant from back to front, from start to finish." Sam J says, "Fred is my favourite, Bruno my captain, I love it." Sam Z, "Is Shaw's good patch of form due to Ten Hag's coaching or just one of his performance short bursts or a bit of both?" We've got a few more super chats, and get your super chats in, I will read them all out. But those last two players to be mentioned there, Fred and Luke Shaw, two players who coming for criticism, rightly so, who even tonight, Fred, some of his shooting, some of his decision-making was questionable, but I thought they both had fantastic games tonight. Luke Shaw in particular was just almost didn't put a foot wrong all game.
This is the problem that I'm seeing. As Joel said, there's been so many positive performances. Fred, Bruno, Casemiro, even Rashford was good today. Yeah. And then you've got people in the comments saying justice for Ronaldo. And this is the problem. You've got these fans that are supporting players over the team.
Let's focus on those two then, Fred and Shaw, because they're in for plenty of stick and we give it them.
Yeah.
So everyone gives it him. I thought Shaw tonight, I think he played the most passes of anyone for United, and his control and his ability to receive the ball under pressure.
I think Shaw was basically the outlet all game.
It was
the way that they set up with the wing backs. He was someone for De Gea to find when he was under pressure, and his control was good. His decision making was good. We were just really snappy in the midfield today. Fred, Casemiro, they were onto every second ball, every loose ball, any loose touch, they were there. They were alert, they were proactive. And that is something that we've often criticised. It seemed that the ricochets and the energy in the middle was always basically on the positive side for alternate teams. But for us today, I loved what I saw. And people complaining about the fact that Eriksen didn't start because he has that little bit of quality. But now you kind of look at it and you look at Ten Hag and the decisions he made. Obviously, hindsight's always 20/20, but he's made the right decisions.
And especially in there as well, we looked at Tottenham's midfield before the game, and a lot of people going, I don't like Fred up against Bissouma, Højbjerg, and Bentancur. And yet, it was his energy and tenacity and work rate that sort of powered us through that. I think, and I'm not saying Eriksen wouldn't have done a good job or that he would have been overrun, but I can see why Fred was picked, especially if Eriksen's still a bit iffy with his illness or whatever it was.
Yeah.
Fred's work rate in and amongst let's be honest, a Tottenham midfield that is slightly more advanced in terms of its energy and work rate and physicality than it is its technicality. That's a midfield.
Yeah, usually what the things that we've just described is, if you've said before the game, it's going to be a midfield battle of energy and physicality, and that you'd look at it and think Bentancur, Højbjerg, and Bissouma will come out second best.
Yeah.
But in fact, them three were actually awful today.
Yeah, they were.
They were completely dominated by Bruno, Casemiro, and Fred.
Yeah.
We ran the midfield today, and that's why we won the game. We got into attacking areas often, got there quick. We pressured them, we squeezed them off the ball. Didn't lay a finger on us today. No. And whenever they actually tried to break, Son, Kane, didn't hear a peep off him.
No.
Martinez and Varane absolutely pocketed them both.
It's ridiculous, really, isn't it? And just another shout out to Bruno Fernandes as well, who weirdly almost always is on the list for ball recoveries for Man United as well. He got 8 the other day against Newcastle. I think it was another 7 today, put him in second. Another 8 again, today. He so much focuses on goals and assists with Bruno, but his work rate and his engine, which is just I think that's just a God-given engine that you can't even work. Some people have it, some people don't. But the fact that he's winning the ball back as many times as anyone for Manchester United is another string to his bow that the stats don't really, or the sexy stats don't show that off. But that adds a lot to a game, especially like we said when you're playing against such an industrious midfield three of Tottenham. Bruno Fernandes' work rate is exemplary, really, isn't it? Even though sometimes it feels like he's maybe wasting energy or getting about the pitch too much. That is the side of his game I think is ignored too often.
100%. I think now everyone sees that he does the hard yards, he does the running, but sometimes it's the IQ of it.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not controlled. Sometimes it's a little bit of wasted energy. Sometimes you see it from McTominay as well, where the decision making of when to go, when to not, rather than running for the sake of it and selling yourself and then leaving your other midfielders isolated off the ball. I think that's what people kind of look onto. I don't think people ever look at Bruno and question him for his work rate. He's a very hard-working player. I think people more think sometimes he needs to slow down that little bit more, actually.
Yeah.
Sometimes a little bit erratic. Plays with a shot clock, as people said. If he had a little bit more composure in his game, which does come with the whole running about, being too busy almost, if he can kind of harness it, like you see today, and then play within a system and make the right decisions, he can be a real force for us. Yeah. And we saw that in the first 50 games he played for us. And we want to see that Bruno again.
Yeah, definitely. Josh, says that slick passing in the final third was chef's kiss. Nick Tannehill says, hi from Chicago. Best game I've seen in a long time. The candle is lit. I hope this solidifies the locker room and they buy into Ten Hag even more, Ronaldo included. To be honest, I don't even want to talk about Ronaldo walking down the touchline at the end of the game because I don't know why he did it and I don't want it to be the focus of what was an otherwise exceptional performance.
And that's the problem, innit? Because it will be known and that's what you didn't want. Like, you don't want.
Yeah,
do
exactly.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. anyway, I'm sure we'll talk about it another time, but I just want to be happy and excited and focus on the positive. Duncan said, welcome to the home of Casemiro. Such a lovely place, such a lovely face. Fred and Bruno at the home of Casemiro any time of year. You can find them here. Very nice. Ari says, nobody talking about Maguire or Martinez's height. It's nice not to talk about Maguire when he's not playing or in the squad. Mikel Teisland says, Dallo, best player in the first half. Stevie Horizon says, Shaw literally didn't put a foot out of place tonight. I completely agree. Was just literally spotless, wasn't he? Fred questionable with some of his decision making yet, but we made up for it with his tenacity. That is literally Fred in a sentence, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
So if you had a good game, it's questionable decision making, but made up for it with his tenacity. If you had a bad game, it was decent tenacity, but his decision making let him down. I think goals aside, Dallo was very close to man of the match. George Ibbotson says, Joe, have you checked your BetMate yet? Smashed it, yeah. For anyone who isn't on BetMate, the sponsor of the preview, I finished top of the group today.
And if you didn't know, Joe said he was splitting it with me.
Did I?
Yeah, you did, you promised.
I don't have to split it 50-50. I split it 99-1. You can have £2. Tina says, Casemiro, this player is world class, and after Bruno Fernandes, Casemiro but what the club has done after Sir Alex Ferguson left. The future looks very good, very good. Jacob O.C. says, just 3 conceded at Old Trafford in the last 6 games, having played Arsenal, Liverpool, Spurs, and Newcastle in that run. Promising. Just on that, I hate the whole word. I hate the fortress word because it's just so overused to describe, being good at home. But being good at home is something that all of the top teams have, isn't it? You can't be a real considered top team if you're losing 5 or 6 games at home every season like United have been.
No, you can't. Home form is where you set your store.
Yeah.
Away games have always been seen as a little bit of a bonus. If you win a majority of home games, you're hard to beat at home. You're halfway there. This is where you play half the games in the season, and that has been the recipe that United have historically used to win trophies and win titles and win any type of silverware or just be generally respected in any sense.
Yeah.
Old Trafford has always been a place where teams have come and almost have lost the game before they stepped out onto the pitch. Just the whole psyche of playing at the theatre of the dreams, knowing that there's going to be waves of attack, it's going to be uncomfortable for you, it's going to be difficult. And United have kind of lost that a little bit at Old Trafford in recent times, and that's something that we do need to build again, because that whole mentality of if you become a team that is a force at home, when away teams are arriving and they are coming, they are going to have that little element of doubt. They are going to be subpar, and it gives you more leeway in your performance not to have to be perfect to get results.
And if you can, put a bit of nerves and, like you said, a bit of worry in the opposition before you even kick off, that might not get you a point or a goal, but it might get you a bad pass from their player once in a while, or some rash decision making. Just on Ronaldo, like I said, I don't want to dwell on it, but just as it's a quote from Ten Hag rather than anything else, he said, I will deal with that tomorrow, not today. We are now celebrating this victory. So him walking down the tunnel before the end of the game, by the sound of that, wasn't an instruction from the manager, wasn't a part of the end of the game protocol, anything like that. It sounds like he's just decided to walk himself into the dressing room there. I think that's a good place to end it, personally.
Yep.
I mean, one of the most, certainly we can agree, the best performance of the season so far, I think, in terms of controlling the game. 28 shots against Tottenham is something that not many people will do this season. I thought that was a phenomenal performance from Man United. Any final words before we go?
Let's smash the Blues. Smash the Blue Tories on Saturday. That's what the final word should be.
I'll take that. Right, thank you very much for joining us. Hit subscribe if you haven't already. Manchester United have coasted to a controlled, dominant 2-0 win over Tottenham Hotspur at Old Trafford. Oh, it's exciting, isn't it? It's really exciting. We'll see you in a bit.